Yes, everybody, welcome back to Talking Wolves. Welcome back to a new update video on the channel. Hope you guys are keeping well. Just a little bit of an update in regards to some of the latest news and rumours. We are heading towards the last week of December now. So as we enter the January transfer window, of course, there's going to be more news. There's going to be more rumours in what will be a very, very interesting window for Wolves in terms of outgoings and, of course, all being well in terms of incomings as well. If you have any thoughts on the news that we speak about today, let me know in the comments section down below. We'll talk about the big one first, which is Jürgen Strand Larsen. Of course, one of the players that is causing a lot of debate amongst Wolves fans at the moment, mainly negative if I'm completely honest, with his performances, lack of goals, and his performance on Saturday against Brentford pretty much summed it up. Really struggled throughout the game, gets the opportunity to get us back in the game from the penalty spot, and a really, really poor penalty which is saved in the end by Keller. So I think a lot of Wolves fans will be open to moving Jürgen Strand Larsen on. He just hasn't quite been the same. You could put it down to his head slightly being turned by the Newcastle proposed move in the summer. But ultimately, he is just not being good enough. And I think if offers start to come in for him in January, Wolves probably will have to consider it to see, if they can cash in and get the most money they can for him. Now, West Ham United have been credited with an interest via David Ornstein yesterday. Still very early days in that at the moment, but they have expressed their interest in signing Strand Larsen from Wolves. Of course, West Ham United in the bottom three as well. They've probably got a much better chance of getting out of it and staying in the league. They've got Nuno in charge. They're obviously a lot closer to safety than we are, so possibly a move for them. Then in need of a striker, I think Nicholas Füllkrug's going to be moving on from them in January. And strangely enough, we recorded our podcast yesterday morning, and I mentioned before this rumor was even out, I mentioned West Ham as a possible destination. I just felt the fit, if he was to stay in the Premier League, the fit was probably there. According to David Ornstein, other clubs are also interested in Jürgen Strand Larsen as well. So we'll have to wait and see. My sort of not reservation, but my thinking this window will be a little bit frustrating because I think other than, our registration's quite packed as it is, you could bring a homegrown player in right away, but any other major incomings are probably going to be relying on players leaving the football club. And really, you don't want to be stringing it along towards the end of January to having to bring players in and freshen up the squad. So Wolves will have to look at that. In terms of valuation, I don't know. I think I said it on the podcast. If anyone's offering 30 million for any of our players, you have to probably take it. It feels like a little bit of a kick in between the legs when we were offered 60 to 65 million for Jürgen Strand Larsen. It's very easy to say now in hindsight, why on earth didn't we take that money? But I think at the time we knew, or we felt that Jürgen was, still a very good Premier League striker at the time. And secondly, we just didn't feel that Jeff Shea and Fosun would reinvest that money quick enough and well enough to find a replacement. I think if we had a proven track record over the last few years of bringing in top quality players, when the likes of Neves had gone, when the likes of Neto had gone, etc., I think we would have backed it and we probably would have been a lot more open to moving Jürgen Strand Larsen on for that price. But because they hadn't covered themselves in glory on that, I think a lot of us, I'm going to say there were some people in the comments saying, no, I'd cash in for that price, which is completely understandable. But I felt at the time everyone was so on edge and cautious about how he would actually be replaced. I think it's probably, I don't know, it's easy to say in hindsight we should have sold him, but, at the time I think it was the right decision to keep hold of him. But Strand Larsen just looks so disinterested at the moment. I think his reaction after the game, he was obviously visibly upset after the Brentford game, which I did feel for him a little bit, but on a footballing level at the moment, he's so far off it. One of his Norwegian teammates, David Møller Wolfe as well, I spoke a little bit about this last week. It is Football Insider running this story, so please, again, take it with a pinch of salt. But he was linked with Brighton Hove Albion last week, and then Aston Villa linked with a move for Wolf this week as well. It said that they'd look at potentially a January move for him. Some Villa fans replying to it saying we don't need him. They've got enough depth there. And Football Insider, like I said, haven't got the best track record in the world. But again, another player that seems to be in demand as well. Finally starting, he's not set the world alight. Really struggled to get in the team under Vitor Pereira, but under Rob Edwards, due to Hugo Bueno, well, he's had a couple of injuries, I think, so he's been out of the squad. But David Møller Wolfe has held that position. Starting to see a little bit more from him, but still not the quality of player. You look at him versus Ryan Aït-Nouri, for argument's sake. They're miles apart in terms of quality. So it will be interesting to see if he moves on as well. You would assume that Jørgen Strand Larsen was a reason why he came, perhaps. So if he's moving on, there could be another one moving on as well there as well. And finally, what a rumour that popped up yesterday, Terem Moffi, the 26-year-old Nice striker, Nigerian forward, got a great record in France, to be fair, but it said that Wolves and Leeds are looking out to potentially sign him in January. Now, he's almost a guarantee to leave Nice. You may have seen it in the press, but he had a massive falling out with the fans over there. The fans actually went to attack him and one other Nice player as well. So it's pretty much guaranteed that he's going to be moving on. He came back earlier this year from a really nasty injury, but he's a very talented player and could be an opportunity perhaps for a loan deal rather than a permanent deal, just to get him back on his feet. But again, with loan deals in January, you probably wait until much later on in the month to get these deals over the line. And ideally for Wolves, you want to try and get him done sooner rather than later. But Terem Moffi could be an option there. That came from Media Foot in France. Again, in terms of reliability, I'm not 100% sure on that. But it would be a player that would be intriguing, of course, possibly links with Toluwa Rokadare or with the Nigerian national team. They both would have been in that at the same time. However, due to the events that's happened and so on, that he's not been playing recently, he's not in the AFCON squad, same as Tolu. Neither of those players are in the AFCON squad. So there is a window there that possibly he can try and jump on that sooner rather than later, but we'll wait and see. But I really hope that, we know the situation that we're in. We know that it's going to be difficult to sign players. A lot of people, comment on the content, speak to me and said, who's going to want to join us? Who's going to want to come here? There is going to be a certain pull for Wolverhampton Wanderers, and they talk about this project. Obviously, money talks as well. But if you can get players that buy into the project, and I know ultimately it's going to probably start from next season when we're down in the Championship, you bring them in, and there will be a selection of players out there. For me, there should be players being lined up, ready to sign early January. Like I said, there might have to be a little bit of moving around and patience, because there is a chance we're going to have to sell players to free up registration spots to bring other players in, or unless they're under 21, of course, and we can just bring them in. So, I'm intrigued by this January, and I'm sure I'll keep you guys up to date as and when we get more news as well. As always, hit the like button down below, subscribe to the channel, guys. Enjoy the rest of your week, Christmas week, finally, and I'll see you on the next one.